Everyone, and welcome again to the channel. Just a quick impromptu live stream, and really wanted to talk about my first day using the Note Air 5C at work and what that was like. Anybody who wants to pop in the chat, please do so. Would love to hear your thoughts, your questions when it comes to the Note Air 5C. I am working on the reviews or at least the unboxings and initial impressions on this device. I received the keyboard case yesterday, and so I got to use it today at work. And quite frankly, I'm enjoying it. I don't know. I was kind of surprised. I saw Kit's video on the keyboard case and wasn't really sure what I would think about it when I unboxed it and got started with it and all of the things that were happening. And I even, as I was filming the unboxing, and when we get to that point, hopefully that'll release this weekend or early next weekend. I was showing this and I was showing that it doesn't have a power port, and I'm working on Riverside and getting used to that. But I don't have a top down shot right now. But what I want to draw your attention to is there's no port here. Well, I figured out the reason is the port on the side of the keyboard itself is actually a pass through port. So while you're charging the keyboard case, it also charges through the pogo pins on the device itself. Pretty cool. And I think that, kudos to Books for thinking through that design aspect. And I think it's really important for them to be thinking through that because there were some missteps with the different keyboard cases for devices. Uh, in my estimation, it looks like the Tab Ultra C Pro. Sorry, I have to get my naming conventions right, but it seems to me like the Tab Ultra C Pro was actually a pretty good device from all accounts, but it never really gained traction. And Jay had mentioned that part of that was the fact that when you flipped it over, the keys would accidentally press and would cause interference with the writing experience. But also, anybody, feel free to jump into the chat. Let me know you're there. Let me know if you've got questions. But, that was one of the things with the Tab Ultra C Pro was this idea that it had accidental presses. It was also, and especially from Kit's video, wider than the device itself. So it didn't really align the right way. And I think that was something that Books was aware of. And I think it was so they could give you a little bit larger keyboard, which made sense. And Kit did the measurements the other day and shows there's about a millimeter difference between the keys. And I think that does show something, at least from my use of this. It feels small, but I'm wondering if that's something I'm going to get used to. The key travel's not bad. I mean, it's what you expect from a small portable keyboard. But one thing that I really do enjoy about it is if you look at this and if you look at the keyboard case, and Kit mentioned this too, and it reminds me of the original Heart of Metal. A lot of people, the first Heart of Metal pin on the Supernote, they would say the cap would fall off. Well, that's what was happening with this. But then I said, if you give it a little twist, like an old school pen, it's going to stick. And that's what happens with this pen. I've given it that twist, and now that's not coming off. So I gave it just a tiniest little bit of twist. And what that allows with this keyboard cover, it actually makes this useful. This flap that I am not a big fan of, and that a lot of people aren't a big fan of, it actually makes it useful. So you can go in and put that on there and it holds. Now, it's not going to hold on the magnet, which is kind of the issue with this keyboard case, but you don't have to. And that's really nice. So it holds with the clip. It's a portable package. I didn't find it was falling off in my bag. It's fairly hefty, but it fits extremely well. If you look at this, it's just a really nice fit all the way around. And I just think that's kind of an elegant solution. I think books learned a couple of things by doing it this way. And I think it's going to be hopefully something that they can keep going forward with. The final review of this will be, can I get used to the size? Because if I take the pin off and the strap, so I will go ahead and do that. And when I go to open this up, I actually do like that it slides down and immediately clicks into place. That's a really good feature. And then it automatically opens up in whatever you're using. And it puts it in that portrait or that landscape orientation. And what's nice about it as well is that it's very well seated. It's a little bit wobbly, but that's only because I'm holding it in midair like this. But when it's on a surface, it works really well. I do wish, since they got rid of the trackpad and they have this extra space here, that they would have added a second channel, maybe to go to about there, because that would have given you a couple of viewing angles at least. I find this viewing angle fine. I don't think it doesn't bother me at all when I'm typing, when I'm doing something. It works really well. But I do find that for some people, it might be nice to have that, a little bit more of an incline, and that might be helpful. But what do you all think? Jump in the comments. Let me know. Do you think that this looks like a decent package? I don't know if I'm going to say at the end when I'm done reviewing it that it's worth the price. I mean, it's pretty steep. It's over $100 to add this, but it's very premium feeling. It feels very much like their origami cover. It's also gives you that functionality with the pogo pins of having a portable keyboard, which I think is really important and something that hopefully will, be useful to a lot of people. And again, that charging from the keyboard cover to the device is really kind of genius. So, but pop in, ask questions, ask me what let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think it was a good move by Books? I really do think it's their way of merging in the best parts of the Note Air 4C and the Tab Ultra C Pro. To me, if you're looking at upgrading from uh, the Tab Ultra, or no, sorry, the Note Air 4 or Note Air 3C, sorry, the naming conventions again are getting me. But if you're looking at upgrading from the Tab or the Note Air 3C, this would be a solid upgrade. And if you're looking at upgrading from the Tab Ultra C Pro, again, this would be a solid upgrade because what you're getting is kind of that functionality of the Tab Ultra C Pro, but the note taking environment of the Note Air 4C. So if you're looking at upgrading either the 3C or the Tab Ultra C Pro, I think this would be a good upgrade just at first glance. Haven't done the full review. Unboxings are still coming, first impressions. But I enjoyed using it today. I used it with Word. I used it with the Books Note text note app, and yeah, it's a little small. I mean, I've got chubby fingers and not extremely chubby fingers, but chubby enough. And if you look at my full size keyboard here, which is the Logitech MX Master Series, I'm used to a full size keyboard. And one of the biggest questions for me was, is this going to be something that has value over a Bluetooth keyboard? Because Books works really well with a Bluetooth keyboard. And I think that, there are a couple of considerations there. One, if you're using a Bluetooth keyboard, you're not drawing any power from the device, but the device, by using that Bluetooth connection, is going to draw power. Secondarily, if you're using a Bluetooth keyboard, you're reliant on that connection, which on Books devices usually doesn't have a lot of lag. But with the pogo pins and the pins built into this and the pass-through charging, you could theoretically charge both devices at the same time while using them. You could leave it plugged in and charge and use it. and you don't have to worry about what I think Kit mentioned on his live stream yesterday, which or the other whenever he taped that one, he's about a day ahead of me in releasing everything, and he's a good friend. And I just somebody mentioned the uh, the keyboard case on this. I think it was Jay the other day, and I said, "Well, assuming Kit doesn't get it tomorrow," and I kid you not, the next day, Kit dropped his video on the keyboard case. I really and again, it's a lot of it's preference, but I was really both impressed and also a little disheartened by some of the things he was showing. But again, they've taken to heart all of the mistakes so far at first glance and first use with the other keyboard covers. You have the rubber feet to stop it from sliding. You have a gap between the keyboard and the keys are sunken a little bit so that when you flip it over, although it remains very thick, so I'm not sure you would want to write on it like that, because even if you turn it over, and yes, it's not going to have where you get accidental presses, because if you notice, this is sunken in here, but it's going to be that thick. So it just depends on what you're comfortable writing with and how you are engaging with the device. But it's got a good magnetic connection. When it's closed, it is not wobbling. Those rubber feet are really holding it in place and keeping